In education, especially at the higher levels, students are taught and tested for the cognitive skills necessary to thinking well. The two most important cognitive skills enable them to form concepts in the mind and work on these concepts, putting them together, taking them apart, making inferences and predictions, drawing conclusions, and applying other logical operations, all classified under what we call critical thinking. The cognitive skills of concept formation and critical thinking are not really separate from each other, but together comprise the higher level thinking skills that students need to master. In the current practice of education, instructors tell students what they need to know in order to pass tests and move on to the next course or grade level. But a lot of students are struggling, and too many of them are failing out. Because all we really care about is the mind of the student, when they struggle, it's easy to assume that the problem must be a deficiency in their cognitive skills. But there is a bigger picture. The student's mind and cognitive skills are also strongly tied to the student's ego, by which we mean his or her personal identity, self-esteem, and all of the self-talk that goes on inside. Especially influential on a student's ability to think well are beliefs regarding his or her own abilities, potential, resiliency, and worth. This all goes into what the 20th century psychologist Albert Bandura called self-efficacy, literally self-power. Many students who don't do well in school are not stupid in any sense. Instead, they struggle with self-efficacy. They don't believe they can succeed. They don't have confidence in themselves. And they may feel that they don't deserve to succeed anyway. So a good question to ask ourselves at this point is, if a student fails a test because he lacks self-efficacy, what does the grade really measure? And if she does struggle with self-confidence, should the education system even care? Let's keep opening the bigger picture. In addition to the effect of self-efficacy on student academic performance, another factor has to do with what's going on in the brain. As the organ most involved in thinking well and learning new things, the brain, particularly its prefrontal region, harbors executive functions that are absolutely necessary. If a student is to form concepts and think critically, he needs an ability to hold multiple bits of information in memory at the same time. Without a working memory, that is to say, higher thinking just isn't possible. But in order to bring those multiple bits of information into working memory, the student also needs an ability to maintain mental focus. And this will be possible only to the degree the student is able to screen out impulses coming from her body and the environment around her, what in brain science is called impulse inhibition. If she is constantly distracted, can't focus for long, and is unable to hold on to things in her working memory long enough to form concepts and engage in critical thinking, the student won't be successful in her studies. In that case, a low grade would be measuring how well her brain is performing, not necessarily how smart she is or how she is smart. For the complete picture, we need to add one more dimension. As an organ of the body, a well-functioning brain depends on adequate sleep, aerobic activity, good nutrition, and an effective practice that helps reduce stress. Altogether, these essential health habits provide the student's brain what it needs to function optimally. The body's health contributes directly to a healthy brain, and a healthy brain will tend to have stronger executive functions, which in turn support the cognitive skills of higher learning. Brains in bodies that are exhausted for lack of sleep, sluggish for lack of activity, agitated for lack of good nutrition, distressed or in pain, simply can't function as they normally would. With the big picture of the student's ego, mind, body, and brain now before us, let's come back to your role as an instructional support facilitator. What part of this picture can you ignore as you try to help a student? It's true, you are not asked to be a therapist, and you don't have time to conduct a comprehensive interview of each student to determine what's going on. But you need to keep in mind that each student brings with him or her more than just the question or problem they're struggling with. The take-home message here is that each student is a whole person, with possible challenges at various levels. You are asked to be present with students, to listen, observe, ask open-ended questions, and help them believe in themselves, do their best, and work at getting a little better every day.